People shouldn't play along with things they don't understand because they're liable to get screwed over. Things that they know are wrong, shouldn't play along with because you can really get screwed over. People will come to you in this 21st century. There are criminals that are so sophisticated. They know just what to say. You know just how to play with people's minds. A lot of it's subliminal. Anyway, I screwed up. I made a good video, but I had part of the screen was blocked with someone else's video that it was sitting there. If I could still see that in the video, I can't use it. And then the neighbors were out talking, and maybe you can hear that. I don't want that. I don't want that. Anyways, so this guy that raped me when I was 14, I won't go into the details because I already covered it in the other video. And it's just really upsetting to go over it again and again. Especially because it was a woman that called up the rapist and told him to come and rape me because she was jealous of the boyfriend that I had at the time. That used to be her boyfriend. Now she's playing with the ponies now. The cartoon ponies can be really mean. That's what I saw. That's the download I got about her when she died. I always know when people die because I see them falling into hell. If they go to hell, I know they're dead. If they're not going to hell, I have to read the obituaries like everyone else. But I have a special connection with hell, so you might not want to fuck with me. I know it sounds crazy, but this world is crazier than I am. MK Ultra? Fuck? Are you kidding me? Project Paperclip or whatever? All that shit? I would never think to do something like that just to keep people addicted to sex and bizarre sex so that they could be controlled. It's ridiculous. I would never do something like that. That's what hookers do, you know. And when women are jealous of each other, it's whorehouse mentality. Catfights over men started in whorehouses. Think of that every time you're tempted to get into a fight with a woman about a man. You're a hoe. You're acting like a hoe. I would never lower myself to fight over any man. If he don't want me, I'm gone. I would never try to force somebody to stay with me that doesn't even want to be with me. Fuck that noise. They're not children. They you know, I don't go after children. I'm attracted to grown men, mature men who know what they want. They're not confused about it. They don't just need a woman to bitch slap them into submission, okay? And men who like to get women fighting over them are sick, okay? They're sick. Don't get involved with them. Get everybody checked out by an astrology chart, a synastry, a composite chart before you date. If I had done that, I would have never been abused in my life, you know? If I had done that every single time before I actually had sex with anybody, it would have saved me so much from so much misery. Please do it. You could tell right away by looking at 2 charts. If the guy won't tell you his birthday, don't date him. Write it down, get it checked out, go into astrodience.com or one of the other really good ones. They have an ephemeris where if you learn the symbols and stuff, you can look it up yourself. You don't even have to pay. You can find the most important ones. And there's all kinds of good books, I guess, but I like Astrology for Adults. It's an old book. And it's not X-rated. because astrology for children is different. That's the only reason it's called that. And I bought myself that book for my birthday one time because I already knew it was good because we had an old copy at our house. My mom used to be into that. Anyway, Pony Girl called up this guy and had me raped. And I was 14. And I had very little experience. I had only slept with one guy before. I'm lucky it wasn't my first experience. I'm lucky they didn't think to do that before. They didn't get to me before. Because if your first experience is rape, then it gives you just that much more difficult things to work through to try and get a normal mentality going. But just being raped that one time broke my brain. And I didn't function properly again, ever. I was born with like OCD and hyperactivity, which nobody knew about in those days. And girls weren't supposed to have. And when I tried to self-diagnose, people openly mocked me. Oh, you can't have that. You're fat. You can't have that. You're sitting in a chair. You can't possibly be hyperactive. You're sitting in a chair. Meanwhile, I was walking miles every day, and I never got fucking appreciation for all the amount of exercise and cycling and all that stuff I did to work off all that energy, you know, miles and long walks. I was out all day when I was a kid, just walking around, having nirvana experiences sometimes that nobody knew about or cared. I had deep experiences that some people spend years in ashram trying to have and they don't have. My aunt from the States hates me for that reason. She lived in an ashram for years. She fucking hates my guts because of the garbage that my mother told her. I bet my mother didn't tell her that she used to hit me so hard that she'd send me flying into another room when I was 6 years old. I bet she never told her that story. So she just kept bad-mouthing me to cover up the way she treated me because she knew people wouldn't listen to me if they thought I was the worst person in the world. And she told me to my face I was a great mother and I was great with kids, but to other people she said different things. Because they came from the States one time, some of her relatives, really pompous assholes. I don't even know who they were, but they were assholes. And she made them think that I was this terrible mother. I'm poor, okay? I raised my kid myself with hardly any help from my parents. My dad sometimes would help out with food money or if we had to move from one place to another. That was it, okay? That was it. Give me any shit about any of that stuff and I'm never going to forget it. I'm not a vindictive person, but I was put in this world to be consequential. So you might want to think twice about fucking with me. I get these downloads. Anybody can get them. Anybody can get them. Okay? You program yourself before you go to sleep. Open your mind. Don't care if you believe in God. Don't care if you believe in the afterlife. I was born an atheist. I didn't believe in God until I saw him. But that's for another show. Okay? This is not for amusement. This is real. Okay? This is not for entertainment. I am not entertainment. Okay? Someone else got the benefit of my misery. If anybody's been watching my misery for entertainment, someone else benefited from that. I never did. Just want you to know that right now. It's always been illegal and it's always been people who have done things that were crimes, that were trying to cover them up by making the victims into a spectacle. This is something they've been doing in China for a long time. This is a known tactic over there. It's a bad place. It's a bad place. Anyway, let's just not go there. I feel bad for the people in China, and I want China liberated. And I believe this is the only way for us to be safe. We've been trying to make ourselves secure by taking life out of life. And it's just not okay. Anyway, so the guy that raped me when I was 14, is also the same person that stoned me to death in my first lifetime. So that's why I in the dream where that was actually a download, I had no other way of knowing that this guy had died after COVID times. And this is like 50 years, almost like 40 something years after the rape. He finally died after telling everybody that women really enjoy being raped and they just secretly like it. They just don't want to admit it and stuff. I saw that online and I said, if I stab you and you bleed, does that mean you enjoyed it? He didn't have anything to say. And then he died shortly afterwards. And I felt like people were orchestrating, like important people with authority were orchestrating things, and they would also give me downloads. But a lot of my downloads are coming straight from God, because I have a very close relationship with him since I was 6. And after this, pretty sure it was after this, my Grammy took me to church every Sunday. I was the only one out of 5 girls that had any interest in going to church. And she took me every week. And she didn't even drive. My dad took me to the farm every week. And she took me down we walked down the church together every Sunday. And I loved it because no Sunday school. They never talked about hell and brimstone. I probably wouldn't have been very open to that at the time. I am now, but at the time I was just a little kid. And I ended up moving there. My younger sisters kept making booby traps for me and like cutting the ropes on the swings and stuff like that. I was like getting the idea they didn't want me around. Plus they woke me up every Saturday morning when I was trying to fucking sleep. So I was like, I ain't staying here. I didn't like my school. I refused to participate. I got into a big fight with some of the girls one day. Anyway, it's a long story short. They took me to counseling, and there was nothing for it but to let me go live with my grandparents and go to that school, which it was only like 6 miles away anyway. And we went there every weekend anyways. And my grandmother took care of me. She was like a real mother to me, whereas my own mother kind of hated me. So she told me when I was 9, she was going to have me out of the house and into a reform school by the time I was 11. And she was not kidding, okay? She once told me she didn't care about me, and she never took that back. But she always was telling us how much she loved us, but I don't think any of us really took that literally. She has helped me at different times when she didn't have to. So I don't think she has any control over it. I know she loves her role as a mother, but she wasn't like a loyal mother to me. She will talk shit about me. She will get me in trouble. She will even tell lies. She even told a lie. She said that people assumed it, and she just played along, I think is what happened initially. I was attacked by someone outside the family when I was 3 years old. And she let people think that I was accusing Dad. Dad wasn't even in the province when that happened, okay? Neither one of my parents was. This was a setup against our family. It was right after the 6-Day War. So I'll let you read into that because you should. My family's important because there was heroes in my family that fought in the war, okay? You just take it from there because you'll find out. I have 2 social media accounts besides this one. If I have any others, I don't use them. I made an Instagram account. I tried to make some other accounts. I don't know if there's any other accounts. So this one is the only one I use besides Twitter and Facebook, which both have my real name on them now. You will see my face there, so hopefully you can find out who I am. I don't like putting my real name on things, but I might do it. I might do it in YouTube. I don't know. This is really hard to talk about for some reason. Maybe it's because I got like sunscreen in my face, on my face, and I got it on my lips, and it tastes bad. Hold on a second. Hello. I'm eating a very healthy chew. Or is it? I don't know. It's spicy. That's the only hint you're gonna get. So, in this dream, I appeared as my original incarnation, a dark Tibetan woman who weighed about 90 pounds. She was very tiny, but very mighty. For obvious reasons, and she is, I believe, my higher self. Like my first lifetime, 2,000 years ago, I incarnated, which I remember, I incarnated as this person the very first time. And I had a very noble life in Tibet. I was a teacher's helper. I felt very fortunate to be where I was and get an education. And I figured it's the best place in the world. But when I met my husband in that life, I was ready to leave it all behind. Because it was love at first sight. Anyways, I was her. And she was very fierce. And this guy that raped me when I was 14, Billy Weil was his name. Billy Weil Sr., I believe, from Nova Scotia, appeared in hell because he had just died. And this is the only way that I knew that he had died. Every time I get a download where somebody is falling into hell, I never see them again in life. They never appear again in life. That's how I know it's real, okay? So you want to question it. First, you have to answer my question. How did I know he was dead? How did I know? Think about it. Don't give me any half-assed answers either, because I've probably heard them all. How did I know he was dead? I haven't seen him since the 70s. How would I know that? The only reason I could recognize him with my face blindness is because he's probably the ugliest man I've ever seen. In my first lifetime, same thing. He was probably the ugliest person I'd ever seen in my life. And he didn't look so proud anymore. When I saw him in hell, he didn't look... I don't want to be smug or anything. I know that's gross, but wouldn't you if somebody raped you and you're 14 and broke your brain? And made you think... And if it wasn't that I thought sex was supposed to be unequal relationships and humiliation, but that's what I ended up feeling like sex was. And that's probably why I had to be either drunk or stoned in order to have sex. And I am the living proof that you can change that. Because it changed for me when I came out here and met someone that was the right person for me. And then they tore us apart. Somebody didn't want us together. But anyway, that's a whole nother video. We were in hell, okay? God has been showing me hell since I was in my 20s. A young mother. Since I had my baby, he's been showing me snippets of hell. A little bit at a time, till I could get acclimated to it. The first time he showed me the first level is different. The place where Billy Wilde Sr. went is the pit where most people go when they go to hell. It could have even been worse. He could have ended up in the 3rd level. So this guy was dumb because he really thought the stuff he was doing was not going to get him any trouble. He could have been a musician and a cult leader at the same time. So people think, oh, that's okay if he rapes a few people. He's a musician. He gets to do that. No. Still going to hell. So anyway, he went to hell. And I was standing over him when he landed on the ground in a heap like a fool that he is. And I say is because death is not a real thing. There's no such thing as death. No one dies. You can't get away from yourself. So please, please treat people like people. Don't try to be something other than a person. Don't try to be a monster. Be a person. Because you cannot get away from yourself. It's one thing if people get mad at you. It's so much worse if you're mad at yourself. You cannot live with it. No one can. Okay? That's why people get bajiggity. Just know it. I'll try to tell you everything I know. Just like I did for my son. Poor child. I told him everything I thought he should know. Except for woman stuff, which he was never going to need to know, right? Why would I bother him with that stuff? Anyway, told him everything I could. He didn't have a father to tell him because his father was a bad guy. He didn't have anyone to tell him about women. He had to rely on his friends for that. And you know what teenage boys know about women. Not much. It's a shame, but I couldn't fill a father's shoes completely. I had to try to be mother and father to him, but I couldn't do everything. Fortunately, I have a great dad myself, and my son chose him as his role model. That's who he's most like anyway. The first time I ever put my son in my father's arms after he was, old enough to be cute. When they're first born, they're not much fun. They just kind of lay there and they can't do anything. He did see him when he was first born. But when he came to visit me, my dad came to visit me in Quebec, and I put my son into his arms. My son just went, ah! He was so happy to see him. It's like he knew him right away, and he actually giggled, and my dad, he and my dad just had this connection right from the very start. And there's so much alike in so many ways. So Billy Wilde Sr., nothing against his family. I don't believe in going after whole families. That's genocide. I don't hate anyone else in the family that I know of. But if you want to mess with me, you'll get to meet God sooner than you thought, maybe. I'm just telling the truth about what happened. Somebody called him up on the phone and said, come rape this girl. And he did it because he's scum of the earth. Scum of the earth. And I can back that up. I don't think people that give birth to scum of the earth and raise scum of the earth have a right to be proud of their children. Because some of us actually care and we actually do the work. We actually don't teach our sons to be rapists. No one in my family's a fucking rapist except maybe my younger sister. But that's another video. I know she was out here making friends with my enemies because people told me about it. Anyway, it's getting really hard to stay on track because I don't want to tell you this part. Maybe I'm afraid if I don't project just exactly correctly that you won't believe me. You'll go away not understanding. I don't care what you think of me, but I just want to make sure you learn this. Because learn from my experiences. Don't force yourself to go through all this shit yourself when you can learn from someone else's experience. I mean, sometimes you have to learn it yourself. I had to. Because I've never trusted anybody in my life. But that's just me. I don't act like someone who doesn't trust, you know? I have to be around people. I need people. But I've never trusted people because when your own mother doesn't like you, you don't trust anybody. Even if you have a great dad. If your dad allows the abuse to continue, then you can't trust anybody, right? And you tell your dad what your mom did and he hits you because he doesn't want to hear it, then you can't trust your dad either, right? Really. He's just really wanted me to go away and stop bothering him. So I moved in with my grandparents when I was 11. I was there for 2 years till my grandmother died under suspicious circumstances. But no, nobody in my family murdered her. She fell from a ladder, and I think there's a reason why stuff was always happening in that dining room, which was directly across from the attic window in the house across the street. That was also part of our farm, our family's property. But something was going on there. Something made her fall off that ladder. But again, another video. Some families are attacked because they won't molest their own children. Okay? Not because they do, but because they don't. That is the craziness of the world we live in, the 20th and the 21st century. I don't want you to think I'm upset right now. I'm extremely calm. But these are unpleasant things to talk about. And I'm a very pleasant person. I've discovered I'm very pleasant. Most people that get to know me think I'm extremely pleasant and easy to get along with. And I don't like talking about negative things. And especially when somebody nice like me starts talking about these things, people think it's craziness. It's like incongruent with who I am or something. Everybody's just a human being with the same needs, and the same kind of, same basic needs and the same rights and everything else in it. There's nobody out there that's just born to be abused by other people and they're going to be fine with it. And it's okay to abuse them. There's no one like that in the world, okay? It's not okay to abuse anyone. It's not okay to abuse anyone just because you think that they're inferior to you, okay? It's not right. It's wrong. And if you keep doing it, you'll go to hell, okay? That is the worst thing you can do. It's the way you treat people. You treat people like they're beneath you and you can just kick them around. Make them feel like garbage. Maybe because they're smarter than you or because they have a talent that you weren't allowed to use your talents. It's not okay. None of it's okay. It's not okay. Doesn't matter who the person is or how dirty they look or whatever. You're not allowed to abuse them. It's not a freebie. It's never a freebie. Some people don't want to be human. And then you have to protect yourself. But to just assign somebody as your victim and then sit back and watch as they get abused, you're going to hell. You're going to hell, and you're going to have to face me, and that's going to be the worst part. You're going to wish I was Satan. I'm not Satan. I don't believe in Satan. If anything, I'm an angel. But I'm an angel who likes to hang out in hell because there's justice there, and I don't see justice in my world very much, in the world I'm in right now. Sorry. So, I don't know how I was able to see everything like from every angle. It's not like a normal perspective. A normal perspective on earth, you'd be looking down at somebody, you're looking down at them, all you can see is them and maybe your hand or something, your foot. And I could see myself, and I could see him, and I could see through my eyes too. I was looking down at him when he's lying on the ground where he just fell. And there was, I think it was 8 of them or 10 angels in pairs, just kind of suspended above me. And they were all looking down expectantly. And it was like they were watching. And they just looked very beautiful and happy. And I was like, that's their perpetual state. Their perpetual state is the state of grace. And they all knew me. They all knew me. And they approved of everything I was about to do. I'll make that clear right now. A lot of people who pretend to be Christians are child molesters. And a lot of them are ready to attack anyone who differs from the collective opinion about this and that trivial detail of what's in the Bible and shit like that. I read the Bible too. I like King James, but I don't obsess over it. The only people I've seen obsessing obsessively over the Bible were people that weren't even Christians, that were trying to disprove the Bible. That's my experience. I once got lured into a relationship with someone who worked for the feds, who said he believed in God, and that's how he got in my bed. And once I got into his house and I was living there, he started his religious abuse of trying to tear me down and tear my religion from me and tear my belief in God from me. He don't know me very well, do he? No, he don't. We broke up 20 years ago. He still comes after me to stalk me, and I have face blindness, so it's really a problem. So I thought about reporting him to the cops. And I don't like to, a lot of stuff could happen. Anyway, another video. I have so many things to tell you before they finally get me. I guess it's kind of a rush because they don't want me telling them. They don't value human life, so my life's in danger all the time. People are always trying to run me over on the street and stuff because I know things. I've been through things. You can check out some of the other things about experiences that people have had. I'm not the only one. But these aren't random things that happen. The really sad things is that most of these things were orchestrated attacks against the families of people who fought in the Second World War. But these campaigns of hate are much older than that, as all the Jews know. And my family has been business partners with Jews and stuff like that because they were into making silk and the Jews are into making jewelry, and those two things just kind of went together in the old country. So, and my family, some people in my lineage were very open-minded, like free thinkers, and so anyway, they were kind of lumped in with the Jews a lot and persecuted right along with them. They've been trying to genocide or enslave my family for a long time. And then when my dad married into my mother's family, that put different races in my bloodline. I'm mixed race because of my mother. So that makes them feel like they can do whatever they want to me, frankly. Frankly, Canadian Nazis really feel like that anybody that's got mixed blood is like impure and they can do anything they want to, depending on how white you are or how white you look. I'm very fair, but I have no really white features. If you really are paying attention, my features are not white. My hair is, sorta, but my features are not. My actual hair was, it's very much got a lot of gray in it now, but I just did a treatment. It won't be this bright. The next time I wash it, some of this will come out and it will go back to a normal color. This is just the sun bleached out my hair, but I like to keep it light because that way I don't get those weird roots, those really obvious roots. It's just streaky and you don't even notice when it grows out. So I don't have to like touch up roots. That kind of stuff does not appeal to me at all. So what do you think I did to Billy Weil? What do you think I did? Do I want to tell you? It only makes sense if you know that he was a cult leader who used to sneak up on girls in the night and rape them from behind because he's really gay and he doesn't like to know that that's a vagina. He likes to pretend it's some other organ. Some guys really aren't smart. They can't tell the difference between a vagina and a, So anyway, this guy would come up behind them and that's how he would like traumatize them to get that trauma bond going. So they would have a trauma bond with him, right? But these girls were indoctrinated by other girls to make themselves vulnerable to this guy before they would get raped. And then they would make them feel like they had consented to the rape when really they probably just thought they were going to get a kiss and some lovin's. But all they received was pain and suffering because they were all virgins. And so to have sex with someone when there's like to force sex on someone when they're asleep, especially a virgin, it's going to be the worst pain they've ever felt in their life, probably. Coming up from behind and they were drugged too. So anyway, he didn't really want to be having sex with females in the first place, this guy. Like most rapists, he's a closeted gay man, like most rapists. Okay? Are you listening? I said most rapists are closeted gay men, all right? Don't even try turning this around on me because I can get stuff on anybody I want. So be careful with that shit. Be careful. Don't be stupid. Don't come up and attack someone even you don't know what's really going on. Because it's a trap, guaranteed. This world is full of those kind of traps. Because actually religion and cults and everything working together is pushing for everyone to take a side. And they will test you. Maybe the world's about to get hit by a supernova. I had a download about that too. So everybody has to pick a side because soon we won't have this middle ground anymore, maybe. You can't take it for granted. You can't take anything for granted in this world. Crazy, crazy world. How dare you call somebody crazy in a crazy world anyway? How dare you? Unless they're hurting somebody, what do you think? Who do you think you are to judge someone for having problems when we all have them? Don't you know that can ruin a young person's mind? when you judge and judge and judge them for being a victim? Don't you know it can ruin a brilliant young mind that could have helped people, that could have healed people? I'm a powerful healer. Somebody didn't want me to use that. How many people played along just to feed their egos? Makes me sick. When I saw that pig on the ground in my dream, I let him have it with my little boots where the sun don't shine. I kicked him across the ground and he went flying. I kicked him 3 or 4 times and the angels in the sky were laughing and clapping. And then a tube with a face came down. I'm not kidding. This worried looking sewer pipe that was actually alive. Another damned soul that had to act as a sewer pipe because her mouth was like an open sewer pipe when she was alive, telling lies and causing people to be hurt and just causing pain and suffering to anybody that she encountered, and teaching guys how to strangle her while they're having sex with her so that they will think that's normal, you know? Stuff like that is all planned out. It's a planned campaign to control people's minds. It's not normal sexual activity to choke somebody out while you're fucking. It's not normal, okay? There's nothing normal. There's nothing led up to this except for maybe jihadis raping people all over the world. Is why this became a thing, because of jihadis raping people all over the world. That's probably how that started. And the commies use it. They use all kinds of abuse to control people. They want to take over the world. That's why they've been telling us for 50 years that they don't want to take over the world, and then showing us pictures of how great their military is. Yeah, okay, what do you need a military for anyway? Well, now we know. Now we know what they were planning on using that for. So, I think, the threat is being downplayed right now, but it is a big threat from China. And I've always admired people from other countries. I've never been a bigot. I have never been a homophobe, by the way, or a transphobe for that matter. I have had many, 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 many people very close to me. Anyway, the sewer pipe came out and deposited a load of shit onto Billy Weil and covered him completely as he cried like a baby. So that's what happens to you if you rape somebody. So don't rape people. That's the message. And, get your downloads. They're waiting up there for you. And you need them. And this time more than ever.